Hello, this is John with Brainstorm Comics and Gaming, and this is this week's Turning the Page. I'm here with Mr. Sizzle, Chandler Zirkle. We are going to do an abbreviated one this week because we are on a time crunch. Before we get into that, we do want to remind you, though, to LCS, like, comment, and subscribe, to the Brainstorm Comics and Gaming YouTube channel. But let's get into this week's news. I want to ask you, before we do that, though, are you disappointed that Marvel didn't choose you to replace Al Ewing on the Immortal Hulk?
I mean, I feel like I get Al Ewing a lot better than anyone else at the company. So, I mean, they could have offered. I'm busy, I can't. But they could have at least extended the offer. It would have been nice.
So the big news this week is he is ending the Immortal Hulk with number 50. We already knew that, but they have announced what he is going to afterwards. He is moving to Venom along with Bryan Hitch. Do you think this is the right choice to follow up Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman?
I think Al Ewing is a good enough writer that he deserves a A-list big character, and he's working mainly with Marvel right now. So Venom, Donny Cates has made, if he wasn't before, has certainly made him an A-list big level character. So I think he has the credentials and the stuff to back up being put on that book. I think being partnered with Ram V, who does a lot of horror, darker characters with DC, I think that will help blend him, although Al Ewing is certainly capable of being very dark himself, as we've all seen with Immortal Hulk and other books like that.
I thought that was like the lighthearted...
They both have that level that they can get there, so I think that's the case. I'm interested to see who's going to do the actual art when Bryan Hitch leaves after 2 or 3 issues, and who's going to take over, because I think that will be very important. He's been lucky that the person he's been working with, much like with Donny Cates before, has stayed with him through virtually the entire run of the book. Joe Bennett has been doing great interior pages for that. Bryan Hitch is, at one point, a really great artist. He is good to get you a cover every month for a couple books, but interiors, he is just not at a place right now where over the last 5 to 20 years, he is not able to consistently put out interiors for a monthly book. So I don't think this marriage is going to last very long in terms of that. So I do hope whoever they get to come in after Bryan Hitch will also be very talented, because Al Ewing is a great writer, and that character deserves somebody with a really talented pen.
I think this is Al Ewing's opportunity to move beyond that B level where he is right now. As I said, I mean, I like him as well, but there's certain writers that just fall in certain categories,
right,
and they have opportunities to move along, and I think this is his opportunity to move to that next level. Kind of like you, I'm kind of shocked that they paired him with Bryan Hitch, not because Bryan Hitch is a poor artist. I think he's actually a very good artist. He's very cinematic in his layouts, and that may be what they're going for. But even 20 years ago when he was on Ultimates with Mark Millar, the book was continually late. It was never on time. Even when he did Authority with DC Comics 25 years ago, like, that was never on time. Mm-hmm. I hope that will not be the case with this. I hope that, like, they at least have like 4 or 5 months in the can. But if comic books have been any indication, that is not the case. And I'm not talking strictly him. Right. Marvel and DC have a bad habit of not having enough in the can, especially for artists that are perpetually late. Mm-hmm. That comics have to get better at is make sure they always hit those release dates, or else the interest in it kind of wanes a lot.
Right.
Because people don't know when it's going to be in the store.
Right.
But I am looking forward to it. I think that he will continue like the horror take of what Donny had been doing with Venom and wrestling. I
think it's a good character matchup with him, his style of writing, and like you said, I love him. I think he's a great writer. I think that he is underrated right now. I think he should be at a higher level than he is, and I think this book is a really good opportunity because a lot of people are paying attention after what Donny Cates just did. So this is a great time to say, hey, that was great. I'm not blowing all that up, but just because he's gone doesn't mean you should stop reading, because I have a lot to offer to the table as well.
Most people will give the new writer at least 1 or 2 issues to prove them capable of following up. I know you said that one of the things that you think will be a bad thing is that they're renumbering it with number 1 again.
I think I've already seen online that some people are angry and by that, because they're like, okay, well, how many editions and volumes now do we have of Venom? This is on his like 6th or 7th run like that. Did we need a number 1? But that might have been also what Donny Cates wanted. He might have wanted it to end with that 200 and his run kind of be like cemented in place. So I don't know if that's a Marvel decision, if that's something that Donny Cates mentioned, or if Al Ewing requested a number 1. I'm not sure how that shook out, but I do know that I saw.
So normally it's from the corporate level, because number 1 sell better than anything
And
else.
I can understand. I get from a marketing standpoint why they would want to. I just know that some people are irritated. I don't think it's going to stop Venom fans and people who read it from purchasing it, but it might just be a little grumble, like, I don't know if we needed a number one.
The other thing is people online like to complain, so
Well,
hopefully,
yes.
hopefully it does not hurt Al Ewing's book. But we will see. We'll turn the page on the topic for now. But as he starts putting out content, we will check in and see how it's doing. So let's move on to the pairing of that news. And since Donny Cates was leaving Venom, he had to find another book, and they did the great swap. He moved on to the Hulk, and they are pairing him with Ryan Ottley. How do you feel about that duo?
Well, I love Ryan Ottley. Was a huge fan of Invincible. He took over and did most of the artwork for that series, very long. So he's very dependable. He recently came off a good stint on Spider-Man and was very, obviously...
Which was putting out 2 or 3 issues.
Right, a lot. So clearly the opposite of Bryan Hitch. Like, he is capable of like getting a lot of work out and not have his work be detrimented by that process. It still looked good. It wasn't sloppy. It didn't look rushed. Still very good. Obviously Spider-Man, similar design to Venom. I think he's able to have a lot. I'm sorry, he's not on Venom. He's on Hulk. So,
I was
but
ready
again,
to jump in there.
I know, I was really ready to say, oh, what a smooth transition for him, though that's not his transition. But I do think he is a very talented artist. I've loved him for a long time. I think that's a good pairing. I think that they're both very talented. Marvel likes them both a lot right now. I think Hulk is a character. Immortal Hulk has been very popular. So I think, again, it's a character that a lot of people are looking at, and everybody's looking at everything Donny Cates is doing. So people are definitely going to read this number one. I'm interested to see if this one also being a number one, in the same way with Venom, is it going to start from scratch from the drawing board? Are those Immortal Hulk storylines going to tie in?
They dropped the Immortal.
He's no longer, so maybe he is no longer immortal, maybe he's not. It's a little bit unclear right now. I think that's something we're probably going to have to wait and see for the first issue or two. But I would hope not, because I do think Al Ewing has done some really, really awesome, great things with that character. So I would hope that it wouldn't all just be completely washed and for nothing and left by the wayside. But I do think they're both talented, and to me, on paper, it looks like a really good pairing.
So Donny Cates normally likes to pay homage to like a lot of storylines in the history of the Marvel Universe. He likes to pull threads and go further with it. So I can't imagine him dropping the immortal aspect of it altogether, unless he has something big down the line. And I'll get to that in a second. So I will tell you that I'm more questionable on this one than I am with the other one. And the reason for that is, if they are going to lose the horror aspect of it, I feel like they're hurting Donny Cates in terms of like one of his strong points. I feel like he's much stronger in like that darker,
Right.
horrific kind of aspects of characters than if they take Hulk back to where he was in the 90s. I feel like that's a detriment to the character.
I agree.
Which is not a shot at I'm drawing a blank on his name. Peter David, not a shot at Peter David, but because he had a long run there that people still look fondly upon.
Mm-hmm.
But the character has changed, and
Right.
So I actually have a different viewpoint than you on Ryan Ottley. I like Ryan Ottley's art. I don't think that he's necessarily fitting for this, especially if it does do the darker stuff. I feel like Ottley's more in line with like the lighthearted kind of aspect of it. I know Invincible got dark with certain parts of it, but the whole thing about that was the dichotomy between like, oh, look at all these bright colors and how versus like the dark undertones of what was actually going on.
He definitely likes to use bright colors
Yes.
and things like that.
And I don't know. Like I said, I'm a little more questioning on this one. I mean, I'll still read the first couple issues, see how I feel about it, but I don't feel like this is a good pairing for the writer and artist. But that's me. The interesting to me is that Ryan Stegman wasn't paired with him on this, because first they said they are going to do another project, that they're working on something big. And I feel like Stegman would be great drawing the Hulk. I think he would do some pretty interesting things. I think that maybe both of them have something in the works with Mephisto. Like, things are going on in the background of a lot of the Marvel books with Mephisto right now. He even laid the groundwork with some stuff in his Doctor Strange run, and it seems like Cates is pretty intent on doing longer storylines. So I think that there might be something in that lane down the road. So.
Right. I agree with that. Like I said, Invincible and Spider-Man both being lighter characters. I think it will largely depend what Donny Cates wants to do with the book and the character. I think, depending on how it's being written, I think his art could look really well, I think. But like you said, and again, maybe he might surprise us and be able to pull something out from there and be able to keep it with that dark kind of sinister undertone always lurking in the background with Hulk. Maybe he can, but I do agree that I think if Donny Cates decides to kind of reverberate, go back in time and make it a completely different tone from what we've had for the last 20 plus years of Hulk, I do think that would be a detriment to the character.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't know that that would happen, but I can see what you're saying about Ryan Ottley. Like, he is certainly very talented, but I haven't seen him on many books like that.
There's just certain artists that I think are more suited towards characters.
Stay in a certain lane and you
like
know,
Chris
work
Bachalo,
with
I
what's your
still think
best.
should have stayed on Doctor Strange. I think that his artwork just fit that, and I feel like it doesn't fit Spider-Man, which is what he's working on now. And
Right.
like some people like it on there, some people don't. I don't think it works as well on it as it does Doctor Strange. Everybody has their own opinions on
Right,
art
sure.
and writing. But we'll turn the page on this one. We will come back to this once Donny Cates and Ryan Ottley do get a couple of issues under their belt, and we'll see whether I have changed my mind or whether I've dug in deeper and how it goes there. So we'll turn the page there, and then we're going to do the return of, in its second straight week, of Stump John. Chandler has 5 pairings of characters. It is my job, which I did okay with last week, not great, but not terribly either.
Yeah.
It's my job to determine which one appeared first on the page. So, as the same as last week, I have no advanced knowledge of these pairings. Even Chandler didn't have advanced knowledge of them up until like half an hour ago. So,
But I still think we got some pretty good ones here. I think I can stump you again. All right, so the first one we have John Stewart, Green Lantern of DC Comics fame, and Man-Thing from Marvel. Which character appeared first in comics?
I want to say it was John Stewart.
Okay. So John Stewart appeared in December 1971 in Green Lantern 87. Man-Thing appeared also in 1971, but he appeared in May in Savage Tales #1. So Man-Thing did come first, same year, but a couple months beforehand. Yeah, 0 for 1. But
I
got
actually
4
thought
more
Man-Thing,
opportunities.
I thought Man-Thing appeared a couple of years later than that. I thought it was like 73.
No, unfortunately, 1971, Savage Tales #1. Who can forget? I mean, Man-Thing is your favorite. How can you forget that? All right, number 2, Tim Drake Robin or Carnage. Which one appeared first?
Tim Drake.
So Tim Drake Robin was December 1990 in Batman 457, and Carnage first cameo appearance was in February 1992. So you were correct. It was an Amazing 359 cameo. First full was an Amazing 361. So about a 1.5 2 year gap there. But yes, so 1 and 1. The third pairing I have is Mr. Mixius Spitlick, or, always fun to say, or Speedy, aka Roy Harper. Which one appeared first?
I want to say Mr. Mixoplick appeared first.
That one's a great character just because literally everybody says it completely differently, and even the guy who created it is like whatever, like however,
I just remember from
however
the
you think is best.
in the cartoons they used to always say Mixoplick. So
So Mr. Mixius Spitlick was September 1944 in Superman #30, and Speedy, aka Roy Harper, which is a surprise to everyone, including myself when I was researching it, actually came out a full 3 years before that, November 1941 in More Fun Comics #73. Not even in the Green Arrow comic. So yes, so Roy Harper was first, about 3 years beforehand. I was surprised too, I know. That's why
makes
I thought
you
I'd
wonder
get
why Dan Didio hates him so much.
A lot of things make me wonder why Dan Didio does a lot of things. All right, the fourth pairing, we have MODOK, everyone's favorite giant face, just got his own Hulu show.
Okay.
Or Aqua Baby, the original child of Aquaman and Mera.
I'm gonna say Aqua Baby.
So that is correct. Aqua Baby was October 1965 and Aquaman 23. MODOK did not come out until September 1967 with a cameo appearance in Tales of Suspense 93. First full appearance was next month in Tales of Suspense 94.
See, I was thinking it was 96 that his first appearance was, but
67.
I knew the series. I couldn't think of the. So I was trying to do the math on the
Yes.
which year that would have been.
So yes, so about 2 years later, 67. So 2 for 2. See if you can finish with a
Not 2 for 2, 2 and 2.
2 and 2. That's right, 2 and 2. Well, you're 2 for 2 on the ones you got right. All right, last one. We'll see if this is a successful round for you, or if you're gonna finish with an L. All right, so sticking in the Marvel universe, we have some.
I think you're choosing
Spider-Man
Marvel on
villains.
purpose because you know I'm weaker on it.
Hey, I'm just trying to choose it because people say I'm more DC, so I'm trying to be bipartisan here and go through everybody. And unfortunately, independents don't have as long a history or as more notable characters, so Marvel and DC mainly what I'm sticking with.
Gotcha.
So, Amazing Spider-Man villains. Who came first, Electro or Mysterio?
I want to say it was Electro.
So Electro first appeared in February 1964 in Amazing Spider-Man #9. Mysterio appeared in June 1964 in Amazing Spider-Man 13. So you were correct. Electro had the first appearance there.
Yeah. That one I was pretty sure.
It's hard because
The early Spider-Man stuff I'm a little bit better
Steve Ditko
on.
was putting out every month there was a new character that we still sing about around the campfire today.
The early Spider-Man I'm a little bit better on than I was afraid you were going to go with some other characters. Like Polka Dot Man, although that is DC. I was
Well,
when you pulled that one out.
You
I
got
was,
that one right though. So you never know.
So we want to thank you for watching this week's episode of Turning the Page. We apologize, it's a shorter one. We were just on a time crunch. We will try and get a full episode in for the next time. Don't forget to LCS, like, comment, and subscribe, the Brainstorm Comics and Gaming YouTube channel. And as always, thank you for watching, thank you for reading, and we will see you next time.